stealer against Jug is not amazing. So safe ban so far. Take out the Grimstroke as well, just to prevent Soulbind being an issue. There are not many potentials here for double of anything from the Mirana Jug, but it's still a really potent support to have with the Mirana on hand. A lot of initiation can happen, especially Spin and Inkswell. So just taking out some of those basic combos here from 5ManMidas.
Yeah, I remember when the Grimstroke trailer first came out, when I believe it was at TI, right? They introduced Grimstroke and everyone was kind of mind blown at how Soulbind made the double Laguna happen in the trailer. And the funny thing is, it's not even about Soulbind anymore for Grimstroke. It really is all about that Inkswell, and of course Stroke of Fate is very nice and deep pushing lanes. Grimstroke, Soulbind, it's nice, but the combos just aren't there these days. Still, 5ManMidas, they banned out the Troll, and now they go into their own third pick. Just really focusing in on making sure they do not get countered with the opposing position 1. And they will pick up a Lich, so you do have that nice Jug-Lich combination, which should make it slightly more difficult for this Tidehunter. Infamous Gaming, not really caring too much, goes straight into the Rubik pick, which I do like into the Lich and the Mirana, because there's already so many spells you can steal away. Hell, even the Omni Slash can be quite effective, even on the Rubik. Is that the damage output is still quite nice, even if the attack speed isn't really there. But I'd say things like the Arrow, the Moonlight Shadow, the Chain, the bounce with the Lich Ultimate, just being able to steal that away is going to be quite nice. And 5ManMidas, straight into a Void Spirit now.
It's keeping in with the aggression that 5ManMidas want to pull off. They've got good setup for the Arrow with a Remnant, so Remnant into Arrow is now a strong combo for 5ManMidas. I think Infamous don't really care for it though. Like they immediately just pick up the Monkey, which is one way to deal with a Jug. They've got Ravage, Wukong's available, and you look at the lanes here. Tidehunter Rubik is a very scary lane for a Jug.
It is.
Maybe not in kill potential, sure, but how do you farm when you are Fade Bolted up and Gushed up or Anchor Smashed up? You don't have right click damage to get that steady farm. You're gonna have to pop your Blade Fury to clear out these creep waves. And there's only so much mana a Jug has in laning phase. So it's going to be tricky here for Lies to find that steady farm. We'll see if they can relieve that pressure somehow. But just Tidehunter Rubik already makes that a very ugly lane to have to lane against.
Yeah, I mean, they might have a nice power spike around the level 3 mark. Having that Frost Shield plus the level 2 spin, you could at least go for the Rubik, and that generally will mean a pretty easy pick-off. But I do agree, in terms of CS for the Jug, it is going to be a little bit rough here up against the Tide Rubik. We'll see how they do deal with it as 5ManMidas, even get rid of the Morphling, just another counter towards the Jug that they don't really want to have to play against. We'll wait out 2 more bans. There's your Invoker being removed by Infamous. And 5ManMidas should be looking at a mid to ban out.
Looks like both. Yeah.
You think Quap's bad here for the mid lane of Infamous? It doesn't look too bad to me. Like, you have plenty of burst for the Lich Mirana. Void Spirit's still going to be very annoying for you, but you can kind of lane against it. And even with against the Jug, having that Sonic Wave available is going to be quite nice.
Yeah, I think Quap could fit in if they're just looking for more burst damage to play with your team fight. I don't think they necessarily need to pick a mid. It looks like, honestly, I think Monkey versus Void Spirit's not amazing if a lane, but you can sort of hold out. Void Spirit's still going to find steady farm, but you can easily just flex here for Infamous if we wanted to. It looks like Infamous is actually expecting 5ManMidas to flex that Void Spirit, maybe on off instead as well. So they're not quite cemented in. I don't know if the opposing side wants to do yet with the Void Spirit. They do pick up the Wraith King, so it is looking like a Monkey mid. And again, against Void Spirit, that's kind of okay to deal with. Void Spirit has Resonant Pulse on hand, but he still doesn't want to get hit by the Monkey for free Jingu. So it's a back and forth one. And the Wraith King in this case, there's really nothing to deal with his mana, like unless you go Diffusal Jug, which we don't really see. Not necessarily the build-up you want in the Jug nowadays. And even disregarding that second life, you've got very tanky heroes up front. Monkey under Wukong's is so hard to kill. Wraith King is just hard to kill in general, and so is the Tide. I'm not sure if they have enough magic damage here on 5ManMidas to deal with. Like, yeah, Chain Frost is great. Void Spirit's nice. But it just feels like as a whole, Infamous is looking really hard to pick off, and they're going to need a last pick here to maybe give them that run at you advantage. They go to Sand King, which is
Okay.
one way to get that done. It gives them team fight as well here in 5ManMidas, and it does actually just lock them into the Sand King off. So Void Sprint mid up against Monkey King mid is not too bad to deal with for either side, although I would maybe favor Void Spirit a bit, considering his wave clear compared to the Monkey. It's all down to how these team fights break out. If Monster can apply enough pressure on Leo to slow down the farm and the Raid King, to make him think twice about going too far forward in lane, that's one way that 5ManMidas can build up and slow down the Raid King. There's a lot of farm Infamous needs to find, right? Monkey plus Raid King plus the Tide, they have to farm heavily. Whereas 5ManMidas, they just need EXP. Hit level 6, level 7 on your Void Spirit, Esk can start running around. You've got the Frost Shield on top to slow people down and find some pickoffs. And the Sand King as well will have that Epicenter ready to go.
Absolutely. It should be a very interesting matchup. A lot of team fight on 5ManMidas, but see if it pays off for them. That Wraith King is still looking very, very strong, and so is that Monkey King. But 5ManMidas, I might add, John, that bot lane looks very, very powerful, or rather top lane for the Radiant side does look very powerful with the Sand King Mirana. Just having that double stun is probably going to pay off early on in this game. Of course, if you are Leo on this Wraith King, you really want to try and avoid getting burrowed into arrowed in this laning phase. But I'd say the same thing about the Witch Doctor, of course, who could be first blooded if he's not too careful.
Oh yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, there are options here to play with. Looks like both sides are just going to run together for now. You're seeing Infamous make their way down bot. And Elias is asking for a minute, so looks like we are going to have that pre-game pause.
Nothing wrong with that. It's like Monster's the one with the DC. We'll wait this one out. But I think 5ManMidas do have the potential to really set a pace that Infamous may not be able to keep up with. A lot of their strength is going to be coming from the early game though, right? Like, in terms of laning phase, you would hope that they are able to beat out the lanes. And maybe if they can do that, they can just keep moving around the map as 4 and buying more space for Lies in the Jug. And their lanes do look very, very strong. Regardless of, say, the Rubik Tide, you still have a lot of kill potential across pretty much every lane apart from the mid lane. Unless you get a rotation in.
Yeah, that's what 5ManMidas really need to build off of, especially since they went for that Lich. You have to play with the early spike that the Lich enables, that the Sand King is going to enjoy, that Mirana can play with the arrow setup. And if they can get those early kills going, then it could be hard for Infamous to bounce back in. They've got 2 heavy farming cores in the Monkey and Wraith King, and you can maybe sack your Tide a bit if things go bad, but you cannot afford to have your Monkey and your Wraith King getting poor. One of them needs to find farm, the other one needs to be able to keep up. And it can be hard to get that distribution out if the map starts to shrink a bit early on here.
Turn this tide to our advantage.
We do have the go-ahead now.
Well, this'll work.
So group up on
You know
both
what I
sides.
find a bit you know what I find a bit funny, Mike? We always have this chat, right? When we talk about connection issues. On the side of 5ManMidas, the 2 disconnects are in the NASA region, whereas Boons just stays connected. He's playing from Australia, and he's got a stable line. It's not a good line to the server, but it's stable at 230 ping. So
Yeah.
you know, there's that. Just found it a bit silly, as always.
It is silly, John. It's very silly, but Australian internet, John, it's making a comeback after all these years of being memed about.
Are you sure about that?
Not really.
NBN, guys. NBN.
30 seconds.
They don't know what the NBN is, John.
I'll pretend that they know, Mike.
Alright.
Let's pretend.
Fair enough. It stands for National Broadband Network, by the way, in Australia. So it's our internet now. It's pretty good. Getting updated as well, John. Did I tell you about this? 1 gigabyte speeds on the way.
Whoa! Outstanding. Within the next 10 years, I hope.
2023, they say. So,
Oh!
yeah.
Ambitious.
It is
ambitious
very
goals,
ambitious.
Mike.
I don't believe it, but we'll see. I'll let you know if it happens.
Still, we do have the lanes breaking out. A bit of a shuffle around. A is looking to make his way back top, so the clump up is broken up. We will have Ikester around on the top lane, sticking around with monsters. So the Mirana Sand King you mentioned is going to be in play. Leo is going to have to cop this lane early. We'll get the TP in from his Witch Doctor and contested, so he's going to have his support on hand. There's some aggression that comes out from both sides. There are 2 stuns on the side of Infamous. There are also 2 stuns on the side of 5ManMidas. And once you get some levels up, this is where it gets spicy for the lanes.
You see how much damage A's already taking on this Witch Doctor. Ikester going for the semi-right-click build in this Mirana to start his laning phase. It's a lot of damage output, and A may have gone a bit too far. Monster trying to get in range for that Burrow Strike, but wasn't quite able to as Leo gave him the Wraithfire Blast. And I love the fact that Ikester as well, he did block off that small cap with that Sentry Ward, so A will not be able to go for that pool. And A will basically do the exact same thing on the large cap. Just try and keep the equilibrium their way, but I think it still favors 5ManMidas because they have so much more kill potential just like this. With the Burrow Strike arrow, Leo should be dead and does go down. Ikester the one to take the first blood on the Mirana.
And that's a big boon for the side of 5ManMidas. This is what they need to see from their lanes. They hit their level spikes, and as long as they keep throwing these stuns out, Great King early on can't do much to survive. He's got 2 armor, right? It's not an amazing amount of durability on a Wraith King, a decent strength, but the right clicks rip right through him. So you have to respect that spike here up top. Still gives us a chance to look at the side lanes, or the other lanes down mid. Angel up against ESK, Monkey King versus Void Spirit. And Angel is working this one out really well. I expected a bit more from ESK-esque with the Resonant Pulse, but he's not really able to maximize it as much. And as mentioned, even with the Pulse up, Angel just gets those pseudo-melee hits off and gets the Jingu stacks up, and suddenly he just wins the trade every time.
Yeah, quote-unquote melee hits with this Monkey King. It's a lot longer than a melee hit, but does he have higher range than, say, Husker? It feels that way, doesn't it? Like some range heroes just can't outrange Monkey King, which is kind of ridiculous. Of course, over in the bot lane, you've got Michael and Mariano on the Tide and the Rubik, and so far this lane has proven to be quite strong. Mariano not really struggling at all in terms of CS, sitting at 12 and 1. Is going to continue to freely just farm up. He's keeping the Jug just a little bit behind. Lies sitting at 8 and 0 on the Jug, so not the greatest time thus far. We'll see if 5ManMidas can utilize that Frost Shield into the spin, but I highly doubt it, as the Rubik is really sitting back quite nicely and not giving them the opportunity to make that happen.
Yeah, it's difficult for them to really get that jump on. And the Tide Hunter at this point, level 3 is still not the tankiest, but the HP is starting to pile up, and there's only so much mana you have on hand for Lies. He has to use the spin to secure last hits instead, which means you just don't have uptime to get those kills.
Burns, going to be in the spot of danger. He used the Frost Shield on himself and will be able to survive. Having a look back up towards that top lane, they are just so low in terms of HP. No regen available. Meanwhile, back towards the bot lane, Burns is in danger, but Mariano going to TP away from the Spin of Lies. Everyone will get out scot-free.
I just realized how funny it is. Spin of Lies. It just sounds
Stop it, John.
like the lies are the spin is a lie. The Spin of Lies. It sounds so fun. And Lies gives us a lot of opportunities to say silly stuff like that. Still, the bot lane, I think, here for 5ManMidas is, all things considered, working out better than the top. Although down mid, that's not good news.
He tried to juke out Angel, but Angel does end up finding him on the Monkey King, with or without that tree dance, and we'll just continue dominating the lane. Almost level 6 now on Angel. A very, very good start for the Monkey. And I'd say, apart from that top lane for Infamous, they're still having a great old time. Of course, with the Wraith King, even if you do get a bad kind of laning start, you've got skeletons. So you could just go to the jungle, let your skeletons farm all the camps up. Generally speaking, you will still out-farm the opposing carry.
Yeah, and that's something that I think Infamous has to look towards now. Maybe start to get some stacks up for Leo, if A can get that done, still you're seeing some disruptive plays coming out from the side of 5ManMidas. The pull here from Monster just to get some steady EXP going. They managed to secure the bounties here as well. And you're just keeping it tied in, finding that steady progression on the offlane they'd want. Leo is still progressing slowly. He is saving up for the Radiance, has that queued up. We'll see if it comes out in a timely manner. I think in this case, anything below 20 minutes is still good. You want to be aiming for 15 to 16 at the latest in ideal circumstances. And we'll see if he gets that space out. If the pace here from 5ManMidas is kept up, there might not be too much jungle space to freely take here.
$1K net worth lead so far for Infamous. Bit of a rotation here from Eggster. Go for that 6-minute power rune, and Esk is going to join him up towards that top rune spot. Of course, they'll get lucky with a nice illusion rune for Esk. Still level 5 though on that Void Spirit in comparison to the level 7 of Angel. It's a big gap between the two. Just about to hit level 6 though, but with this good of a start on the MK, he's going to be his own kind of carry. That's going to be a point of concern. This junk is already going to struggle with dealing with the Wraith King later on, but when you've got an MK this farmed up, it's 2 cores you're going to have to deal with as the junk. Meanwhile, top, A is being dived under this tier 1 tower, but he's juking out quite nicely. Monster still has a Burrow Strike and will be able to throw it out. Do they have an arrow? Not quite, but they'll have the Starfall there from Eggstar. But A is still running away on this Witch Doctor.
Oh.
He should go down, but no!
What?
Eggster, he didn't believe his eyes for a second there. So he kind of ignored him and went back for the creep wave. While that was happening, bot lane, Lies ends up killing off Rubik.
Yeah, it's a missed opportunity top, but you're still happy with how the game's going if you are 5ManMidas. You forced the Raid King into jungle. Leo is still finding some steady farm and is still finding more farm than Lies. So that's still a point of concern here for 5ManMidas. All of their cores lagging behind Infamous. The biggest disparity is really on Esk. Like, the mid lane was just not good for him. The rotations out, we didn't see too much. And that is just really tough as Angel just finds these pickoffs.
Yeah, great presence of mind from Angel, understanding that all the leap charges were used up by that Mirana, so he just chases him down and takes the time to make sure that Mirana dies. Very confidently knowing that there was no leap available.
Yeah, so it's freebie kills like that that really start to enable this sort of greedy lineup. Although, if they catch Monster...
This might be another freebie. Burrow Strike is there, but Angel, Primal Spring in. There's no way he survives through the melodic damage, and Angel will take the kill for himself now on this MK. That's his 3rd kill of the game already, 8 minutes in. I talked about this earlier on, John, but that is going to be a big point of concern here for 5ManMidas. Michael does get jumped mid lane, and they do at least get themselves a Rubik kill. But as I switch over to the net worth graph, top 3 net worth are all on the side of Infamous.
Yeah, and they're just ready to spring into action. They're looking down bot. There is a counter movement out from 5Man although.
Oh, Angel, these rotations are just perfect. He's all over the map. You just can't predict where the man's going.
And that's the scary aspect of a very active Monkey King. They have given a couple of kills away to S down mid though. So the Void Spirit's starting to catch up just a tad. Might find another.
Yeah, Michael, that was a very interesting TP to make as the Rubik, but Esk doesn't have any more steps to use. Be forced to walk away from that one. Meanwhile, Eggster being chased down once again, and he has no leap charges, so Angel happily going to jump in for a Boundless and should be able to get the kill. Esk trying to help out, but can't really do much apart from throw out that Aether Remnant. Meanwhile, bot lane Mize, he's going to spin and try to get away from this, but they're going to continue chasing him down. Leo doesn't have another stun for 10 seconds, but guess who's here, John? It's going to be Angel once again with a double Boundless Strike this time. Lies drops the healing ward, but he's in massive, massive danger, and he's going to go down. And in fact, they're not done. Angel knows Boons is around here somewhere, and he's going to slowly but surely just chase down the Lich, but will not commit to it. He'll leave him be. Or will he? Angel's still going, but there was a smoke up from the side of 5ManMidas, and Angel jumps straight into the smoke. He's in danger now. He needs some help. He needs to maybe turn back around, but he could not do it in time. Chain Frost going to be committed onto Michael. Only bounces onto Michael, so they'll have to settle for the Rubik kill, but if you're 5ManMidas, you're very satisfied with that Monkey King going down.
Yeah, it's a big pickup for 5ManMidas. Just finding the kill on the monkey, punishing that overextension was important. So they do manage to even out the kill board a bit more, even out the net worth a bit more. They did trade tier 1 towers as well, up top and down bot. So both sides are looking really even considering that start. You're starting to get some opportunities for 5ManMidas to close the gap. There is still a disparity between the cores here. All the cores of Infamous are still finding more farm than the side of 5ManMidas. They're leading about 600 gold at the minimum between all these heroes. So still a good start for Infamous. Still building up. We haven't hit their own power spikes yet. Leo's just going to be saving up for the Radiance. And in the jungle, he hasn't been contested. He showed up a couple of times in lane. But considering his jungle farm, it's starting to shoot up. However, they do have some items flying in. Monster, I believe, does have his blink coming up. So there are opportunities now to team fight with that early level in Epicenter. And because of the changes to Epicenter, it does a lot more at level 1 and is very impactful. So they do smoke up.
Alright, into the mid lane. They're going to see Angel, and that'll be a massive target. Epi being channeled. Angel does back off at the right time. Burrow Strike is not going to connect either. They still got the 8th Remnant though, and Death Ward is going to be there, but they got the Monkey King. Monster will go down as a trade. Considering they missed all those spells, I suppose you just have to be happy you got the kill, even if it does cost you that offlane Sand King.
Yeah, on paper, that was a bit more gold for Infamous overall. Just because the net worth on the Sand King was a bit higher going on to A. Still, you take out the Monkey King, you're stopping his progression. Still good news overall for the side of 5ManMidas. They can't really commit for a push. There's a Ravage up in Mariano. So if they do force the issue down mid, they could be in for a bad time. They will just disperse and try to get that farm up. Esk is still waiting for his first major item. Still stuck with a phase and 2 nulls. Still enough to get his damage out, but we might be looking for that Eul's timing to start to line up. Once you have that Eul's, you can easily set up by yourself. And Infamous, with a Ravage waiting to go, they are smoked up.
They are. Well, they're going to run straight into Lies, but the smoke should be broken a bit too early here for Lies. He'll be able to spin and just TP away. Now a Moonlight Shadow immediately being popped. Eggstar, I believe he was spotted, and they put a sentry ward down just in case he's around the area. And he just gets bursted. Esk might be able to just kill off A, and does do so. They do at least trade.
Your life serves no purpose, but your death.
Very even trade between the two.
Yeah, it's basically space for these cores to farm out. On the side of 5ManMidas, I'm very confused by Lies right now. He's got the Midas queued up, but he also has the Battlefield queued up. I hope... No, he bought out the Midas. I don't know about both of those flying out, although Beams...
Burns, Chain Frost is there, still bouncing between the two, and the arrow it does actually land, but they are still going to be able to kill off Burns. Eggstar going to jump back in after Angel, but Wukongs is there. No, Burrow Strike is going to be committed to make sure he doesn't get that out, but he is still going to die, and S has been stunned. Boundless, not going to land. Angel, still happy to jump in if necessary. There are no Astral Step charges available on Esk right now. So he's going to be very, very cautious. So they want the tier 1 tower anyway, especially with all these skeletons around. Frost Shield will dissuade them just enough to force them to back. But yeah, going back to that junk build-up, John, I do agree with you. Midas into Battle Fury does not feel great.
No, I dare say it's not optimal at all. I think if you go for one or the other, not both. This does mean Lies is just going to be farming up for a much longer time. I mean, the attack speed is nice on a Jug, but it's just not very slot efficient. And it delays his timing by a huge amount. So 5ManMidas still have to keep playing as 4 to stall out for the Jug to build up. But while they do that, like the space Leo gets, he's got his Radiance up at the 15-minute mark. So he's way ahead of schedule here. He's not been contested at all. you're also getting some good farm out on a Monkey. And those are two really heavy scaling cores that you're trying to play a farm game against. Not the ideal you want, especially since both of them scale really well, whereas the Jug, it does have an upper limit in scalability.
Yeah, I believe the idea is he had a really bad laning stage, so he needed the Midas to catch up, and he's still going to try and act as if that laning stage never happened, but Mariano, he's going to be alright. Still a bit too tanky. Epicenter going to be cancelled off by Monster. Oh, egg stun.
Oh.
That's unfortunate. Michael will be able to lift him up, and of course Leo will take a very easy kill on the Wraith King. You do have Lies catching up in terms of net worth, but it does go back to that problem where you're kind of versing two carries on the other side, and while the Junk can scale quite well, it's just going to be a long time, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's a long time, and it's always the issue of Omni Slash. Like, it's amazing, but then its cooldown's constant 140, so you're talking about 2 minutes 20 seconds where your Jug cannot fight, cannot join in to contest anything, cannot throw his body out front. Whereas the Wraith King, max level reincarnation, 40 seconds. So you can basically just live twice in a team fight if it does drag that long. Monkey King, Wukong's is held down, but his base kit is really nice. They do jump onto Mariano, but he is very tanky, so
No arrow
not really going to find
either.
that pickoff.
Esk, bot lane. It's going to be alright. Leo is around. They'd love to kill off the Wraith King. He actually turned off his Radiance so they don't notice where he is. Instead, they're going to make the jump onto Angel with the Epicenter to fly out. Angel, he's stuck around to try and fight this one out, and now the arrow going to fly through. That'll be Angel dying, but Leo's going to come in straight onto Boons. It's not quite a trade that they would like, but they'll have to accept it. They might even find the Sand King, but the Witch Doctor is going to die of the Chain Frost. Meanwhile, Leo and Mariano trying to go after Esk do find the Void Spirit. Nice big crit there from Leo. Does end up being a 2-for-2 trade. I think we could both argue that 5ManMidas are probably still going to be okay with this one, though.
Mildly okay. Like, in the end, you traded out Esk and you gave the kill to Leo. That's a very big swing for the Wraith King with the Radiance. He's going to get his S and Y now in a very good time, and that can cause issues with the added stat resist as well. So you have to watch how much you bleed out to the Wraith King. They still are clumped up.
Sandstorm going to make it very obvious monsters around, but he's going to Burrow Strike towards the north. John, you can't forget, all this time has just been Lies farming up towards the top lane. He does have the Battle Fury up now, so his farm is set to escalate even further on that Jug. However, while he is farming, that bottom tier 2 is starting to melt, but Lies does TP in, or maybe he shouldn't have. He's not going to try and fight, or maybe he is. The Burrow Strike is there. Monster now, the Omni Slash, going to fly through. That'll be Leo's first life. Mariano, meanwhile, still alive. Leo, however, been left behind, and he is going to die. Still, Angel going to continue to try and fight with that Wukongs, but he is not going to be able to finish off Lies. Burns. Out of position, he's going to die, but Monster is going to jump back in with the Burrow. And Michael should just be dead here on this Rubik, and does go down. And so does Aeon the Witch Doctor. It's a 3-for-1 trade in the favor of 5ManMidas thus far. They still even have the Monkey around, but it looks like they're not as confident in taking him out. Eventually Angel will be able to leap his way out.
A big set of kills coming out for 5ManMidas. Like, killing off the Wraith King like that, way too far forward, and you have to sort of respect the power that Lies does have on hand. So that does actually give a lot for 5ManMidas, and it's a good use of the Omni Slash. You just want to put that spell on cooldown to then go back in farming. So not a care in the world now for Lies in the next 2 minutes. And with that Midas buildup and the Battle Fury, I guess it's paying off because he's just not being punished for it. Like, he comes in, Omni Slashes, goes back to farming. What Infamous want to do right now is to punish the fact that he has no escape capability beyond spin, but they're not really prioritizing keeping him down, just focusing on their own farm. Gap is very narrow now at 1k, and you're still feeling good if you're Infamous, but those deaths down bot are costly. It offsets the progression if you're Wraith King. You're probably just going to want that S and Y up and running before Leo shows up again.
I mean, you look at Angel on that monkey, and he's just slowed down so much. This is an epicenter that was committed by Monster, but Leo had already backed off. Everything completely whiffing, but they at least found the Rubik. Esk will take that kill on the Void Spirit. But Angel now with the Primal Spring in straight onto Boons will leave the Banner in behind. Monster still around to help if necessary, but it looks like they've accepted that Boons is going to die. He will indeed. Meanwhile in mid, Leo and A were just chasing down Esk on the Void Spirit. It's like for now he's going to be okay, but Leo is still chasing him down with the invis. However, Esk going to jump back in onto A with an arrow set up. They should be able to kill him, but now Leo not connecting the stun. Dissimulate was there in time. In 5ManMidas, they really aren't getting punished for this greedy play with the Jug. Infamous are trying, but it's not really working out.
Yeah, they're tossing bodies for it, but it's just not lining up. And they keep streaming in one by one, giving openings out to the side of 5ManMidas. Infamous have really strong team fight. Like 5ManMidas only have really the epicenter burrow, whereas Infamous have Ravage, they've got Wukongs, they need to play with that power with everything else they've got on top. They do take out the bot tier too. They should be able to head down mid in time to defend as well.
Leo. Fire Blast, gonna be juked out by Monster. The 1k net worth lead still there for Infamous, but that really means nothing. Angel. Spot out Esk and Boons. Aether Remnant gonna connect. Let's catch him out. Infamous are ready to fight this one out as well. They're more than happy as Leo gonna get the Courier of Boons. Frost Shield is gonna be there. They're trying to find a way out of this scenario, but it's looking pretty rough for Boons at least. Gotta be a Lich going down.
I generally prefer to remove a victim's flesh myself, but I'll find ways to divert my disappointment.
Everyone else is gonna be fine though, so as far as your 5ManMidas are concerned, I guess only losing the Lich is gonna be just fine. However, losing the Roshan probably not going to feel too nice.
No, they need to contest. They do have epicenter to get a good scan out, so they've got enough time to jump in and try to force something here.
Moonlight Shadow. Arrow. Not going to spot anyone in the pit. The Moonlight is going to wear off. I suppose they did stop the Roshan attempt, which is definitely great news for 5ManMidas. Infamous though, they look like they're ready for a fight. Jump in, nice Ravage out, they caught the Void Spirit and they are going to burst him down. Flies, also being spotted, but a nice epicenter burrow strike straight into that Witch Doctor, kills off A. Now the Omni in the back line's going to bounce over to Leo, who is just tanking all that damage. Now Lies needs a way out, but they'll go for the Sanking instead, trying to burst him down, but Monster, he tried to burrow strike away, but it was not going to work. And now you could definitely just go straight back to that Roshan pit if you are Infamous.
Yeah, they only pop the Ravage. I mean, Ravage Wukong's down is big, but Omni Slash is down. This is one issue as well with the Jug. You go in for the Omni, you just turn on the Skeletons, and, well, you're not hitting any heroes anymore. So a bit unfortunate there for Lies, but this rush is definitely going the way of Infamous. Potentially 3 lives now on Leo. We'll see if they do commit it onto the Raid King or just hand it off to someone like Angel instead. Still just a 1k difference, so it's not the biggest advantage, and they might still look to sneak in here.
They've got time. They are around the area, but they've got to find a way to jump in. Like Leo trying to get started onto Angel, but Death Ward is going to be channeled there by A, and they are going to hold the line as Leo does finish off the Roshan. Bin from Mariano, but no Ravage available right now. That'll be enough. They got the Aegis, they got what they came for, and they just want to back off and reset.
Yeah, I think a slower pace of game does favor Infamous a lot more. And again, they've got these bigger cores that scale really well, whereas 5ManMidas, they're still going to hit some item spikes. Like the Ags timing here for Esk is going to be important, but they are smoked up. This is a bit dangerous smoking into the Aegis, but they might think they're split up here.
Well, they are right in saying that as well, but a nice blink away from Mariano. Looks like A will be the unfortunate victim on the Witch Doctor. Arrow gonna fly through from the Rubik. Doesn't land, but the Mirana arrow does. Eggster helping out, and now a Burrow Strike is there for Monster, but nobody around to really stun up. Still, they are feeling confident enough to start going into that top tier 2 tower. Have to be slightly cautious that the Ravage is going to be up in 10 seconds here from Mariano. He might just start the team fight early on as he does jump in with the Blink Dagger straight onto Monster, trying to get that Sand King. He's going to Burrow Strike away. Now the Ravage is up and available. He can't really find a target. Instead, Leo just going to finish off Boons in the backlines.
The prize is mine.
They are still chasing Angel. Gonna juke out the arrow. Wraith Fire Blast is out onto that Mirana. Angel on top of the cliff will turn back around for a nice balance strike, catching out Lies, but the spin is gonna be there. He will just TP away. They are still gonna try and chase down Monster for a little bit. He's gonna be fine. Eggster, he has one more leap charge. He'll get out. So at worst, if you're losing this position 5 Lich, you're not going to be too upset as 5ManMidas.
No, it's the ideal situation for them right now. They managed to save up long enough that the Ags is up for Monster. So we're looking at a ridiculous range on a Burrow Strike, along with Caustic coming out onto these heroes. Could be annoying to play into. Still have to worry about the Aegis on Leo. And he does have level 3 Reincarnation. So with the Aegis and level 3 Re-Ink, we could potentially have, what, 4 lives on if he lives through long enough. That could be an issue in handling, especially since your damage is coming out from Omni Slash and Epicenter.
Lift, arrow, all of it connects. A Ravage even being thrown out for Lies. Does get the spin off. Do they have the damage? Not quite. They didn't chain all the stuns perfectly that time around, and Leo, he's going to lose his first life because of it. I think that's about time for him to back off. Might just wait for that reincarnation to be back up, but they actually landed the arrow there from Michael on the Rubik. They didn't really need the Ravage to be thrown out by Mariano. I suppose zoning them out with the Ravage is still nice, but had they timed it well, that would have been a dead jug.
Yeah, and if they found that kill, that would have set back Elias a lot. He just bought out his Ags, wouldn't have had a buyback to come back in. So it would have been massive, but now with a Swift Slash, they could try again.
Yeah, reincarnation back up in 1 second. He's going to have it. So the Aegis is still not lost. Angel with the Wukongs now controlling up S, but he's going to step away, and the arrow connects on the Monkey King. Meanwhile, A being chased down by Lies, and is probably just going to drop back in onto the right side. Monster just Burrow striking right in, but he dies to Leo. Omni going to be committed. Angel is taking a lot of damage and does go down, and Lies will commit a Swift Slash onto Mariano. And with the spin, is going to continue this chase. As Leo tries to go after Esk on the other side. But he doesn't really have the control nor the damage right now, and Eggster landed a nice arrow on Mariano and ended up securing the kill. And suddenly 5ManMidas are looking like potentially the stronger team.
Yeah, they're just finding the angles. They get the team fight off the way they want. The Omni Slash from Lies is just doing a lot of work. They have no way of locking the Jug beyond just blinking in and getting the stun off or the lift off first. But they don't have the burst damage on hand. They just lack the appropriate items to handle the Juggernaut at this point in the game. And it's becoming an issue. The Swift Slash is doing enough work. This diversion into Midas Battle Fury is paying off. The attack speed he gets is just ridiculous. His Swift Slash feels like it lasts forever. A lot longer than you'd expect it to. And Infamous are just not tanky enough to bear the brunt of it now. The Cleave is doing so much work going through them. They need to maybe try to tank up a bit more. I'd say sources of armor are now important. If they could have gone for something like the Assault Cuirass and Leo, that would have helped up a ton. But he's still trying to save up for that Abyssal. The Aegis expires now as well, so this time around he only has that Re-Ink left.
It's not going to get much easier once Lies has the butterfly up. Leo, he's forced to spin there onto Lies. It's going to be fine though. Lies, no punishment out for him. Ags up on Esk to boot, so you've got that AoE silence now available on the Void Spirit. Lane, Lies, does finally get the T1 mid tower. Better late than never.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And the way this game's shifting, I feel kind of bad for Infamous. Just feels like maybe not necessarily waited too long, but just a couple of missed opportunities in team fights, and suddenly we're here where 5ManMidas are evening this game out quite nicely. When Lies got a double damage rune now as well. He'd love to run into some heroes right now.
Yeah, it could be massive. He is
Mariano.
surrounded though.
Might be the unfortunate victim. Mariano gets his creep stolen. The Omni Slash is just gonna melt him. Lift was there from the Rubik, but it's not gonna help.
Yeah, it's getting a bit dicey. You're hitting a lot of spikes on the side of 5ManMidas. Now, Infamous, on top of just tanking up, needs some BKBs to fly in to prevent that silence from ruining them. And if S gets that angle he wants in the jump in, Infamous have no way of counterplay. Like, they just don't have BKBs. They went all in on damage, all in and on trying to burst heroes down, and they haven't been able to. So they need to stall for more time now on the side of Infamous. The Abyssal is flying out for Leo. At least they've got this insta-stun now on the Wraith King to maybe take control of the Jug. He can't just TP spin away. You do have your first BKB up here as well on Angel. So the Monkey King has some ways of just standing in Wukongs without a care in the world. And that is going to be their strong point now. I think Infamous could go for a smoke play if they wanted to with these item pickups. Knowing that Omni Slash is going to be down for a minute more, looks like that might be the game plan if they have a smoke on hand. But
It has to.
they're holding on instead.
There you go.
Okay.
And we're going to find out when Roshan spawns in about 15 seconds to boot, so if they can get a nice team fight going their way and maybe get lucky with an early Roshan. In fact, never mind that, because they found the biggest target on the map. They found the Jug. Lies. If he's perma-stunned, he is just dead. And Roshan
boy.
instantly spawns.
Wow.
A literal
Seriously.
instant spawn.
Jeez.
Not even one
It was-
second.
It was last game as well, right? Where Infamous, where I was like, okay, they might take Roche if it's up. And then just instantly came up. Unfortunate that Lies also bought out his Eagle Song, so there's no buyback for the defense or Roche contestation. That could cost them here.
Uh-oh. Yeah, in that case, Leo's not going to care for the Roshan yet. He'll go for the mid-barracks first. And they know all the net worth is in the Jug as they do jump in once again. They found out the Void Spirit, but S is going to be fine for now. Gets himself out. Chain Frost also being committed. He's going to do a bit of damage there to Angel, but not that much. Still holds onto his BKB charge as well. That's going to be at least one lane of barracks, I believe, here for Infamous. Not much in the way of stopping them. And you do still have time to force the Roshan if you really want, but they're going to go for the bottom racks instead. In fact, they found out the Mirana now, but Aikster is going to be able to leap away. So maybe they just get a tier 3 in back. They shouldn't have enough time for the barracks. But considering they know that there's no buyback gold in the Jug now, maybe they'll take the risk. Arrow's going to land. But no, they aren't going to risk it. Leo just happy to back out. That'll give him a nice 1 racks advantage.
Yeah, 1 racks up. Exposed bot lane as well that they can just shove into. The Roche, I'm not sure if they actually spotted it, but they should try. They are instead going to go for deep push up top first. So the safer play coming through. You did have Lies respawn anyway, and there is a smoke out from 5ManMidas. They did want to punish.
Who do they go on? There's going to be a counter smoke. Infamous seem to be very well aware of where 5ManMidas are. Leo, he has a secondary life. He's not going to mind dying the first time. He breaks the smoke. Lies going to reveal himself now, but they have the backup with the lift out onto the Jug and the Ravage as well. Leo just going to blow up Lies. No buyback on the Jug. Another one going down in the form of Burns. Esk is trying to run, but he has no step charges left. All he can do is dissimulate. I don't know if that's going to be enough, and it won't be.
Played your part.
Rax or base, John?
I think Roche. I think Roche is the safer play, and they're running into it. You've also got enough gold here for Leo to buy back the full AC. So even if you have your Jug around, there's so much armor to rip through, and you don't really have damage just yet. You've got SNY, you've got Eagle Song, you were getting through without that additional armor, but now that the armor's flying in, your Jug's not going to be ripping through these heroes as much. And now you've got to deal with Aegis and Cheese as well. There's so much. In fact, Michael's just doing a lot of work here.
Yeah, Michael really just doing a hell of a lot of work, catching out Aegster and setting up another kill. Even finding himself a bounty rune as a thank you. There goes your Roshan. Cheese just... I'm assuming someone's going to go back for that. Mariano, there you go. You got the Aegis now. 3 lives back up on Leo. Still no buyback on this Jug.
Yeah, this is painful. Like, Lies, again, he tried to go all in with a butterfly. He can't even finish it. So it's just stuck there. He doesn't have buyback. And this is just a massive issue as they rip through the bottom racks. There is a tier 2 top, so they can't get mega creeps yet. But they can't stop this either.
Very true. They could try to stop it. They do have 5 people up, but you know if Lies dies, that's pretty much game over. They may as well just go for the tier 4s after that. So Leo is almost tempting them to jump in. His team are very, very far back as well. Gonna be 2 racks now. Of course, the line's already drawn out. It's up towards the top lane for Infamous. And I think for Lies, it's going to be all about getting that buyback gold up.
Yeah, he just needs to farm up. Even changes his itemization into the Swift Blink instead. So we'll see if he can actually save up for that and the buyback. It's a lot of gold he's got to build up into. Esk was shoving the top lane, but it's been cut off. So the wave is just going to come in at some point here as well.
Leo was literally just spinning on the spot there in front of the whole side of 5ManMidas. No cares in the world. Look at him.
What?
He's just he's literally taunting them to try. Doesn't even hit the creep.
Range creep.
Yep, just wait.
No. You got to use that Radiance. You bought it. You got to get some value out of it.
Leo gonna run straight into all the side of 5ManMidas with the Moonlight Shadow up. They pop their own Moonlight Shadow now. And they still will not jump the Wraith King. Instead, however, they found the Witch Doctor. They do take down A, but now the Abyssal Blade out onto Aegster. They want that Mirana dead. Buyback's being committed from the side of Infamous. Lies, always been Balance Striked up into the Ravage again. Oh, he still doesn't have buyback.
Oh, God.
Monster will commit his own.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
That's at least Megas here. And the worst thing about that was Lies dies with no buyback without using Omni, without using Swift Slash. Like, just not finding the angles with instantaneous control. Although,
Jump in. A is actually not going to die. The switcheroo is going to be there, and S also goes down. The Voodoo switcheroo coming in handy for the Witch Doctor. Now Mariano just frontlining as the rest of his team takes the top racks. There's just no way to defend. Not without your Jug.
no. No. Really no way. And Mega creeps up. Infamous, they still hold on to the Aegis. Leo can just twack away at the tier 4s. They can stall out really well. This is where the Lich shines. Frost Armor has been making these pushes a bit slower than they'd want to. They could potentially stall out, but nah, they called it GG. And a clean 2-0 for Infamous. Very well played from them. 5ManMidas, it looked like they had some answers here in game number 2, but just wasn't enough to overcome. Spectacular performance here from Leo and from Angel, really. Like, they did a lot of work, especially Angel. Winning out that mid lane hard, getting that farm over to Void Spirit. X just could not do anything early on, and they just enabled this Wraith King and Monkey King duo to just get that farm and get the space they needed. It looked wonky mid-game. There were a couple of dips in performance where they were being picked off, but they still managed to follow up. And 5ManMidas, it was all down to Lies buying this damn Eagle Song. Right? Like, as a core, you kind of tunnel vision into your itemization. You're like, all right, I have the money. I'm going to buy the big one. And then he just lacked buyback for what, 3 fights, Mike? And that was it.
Very unfortunate way to end this game for 5ManMidas, but they did put up a pretty darn good fight up against Infamous Gaming, and of course, as the games go on for the Pro Series, there are plenty of group stage matches for everyone to try and get kind of accustomed to the tournament. With that though, John, it's been a long day for us, and that is it for today. Of course, once we do head off, everyone will see the scores from all the games today, so don't you worry if you missed out on the earlier games. With that, it is MLP Dota and of course JohnXFire. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll catch you all again tomorrow for some more great BTS Pro Series Season 5. We'll see you then.